Hello again, it's Jonathan at the Piano Lesson. Every time I start these lessons, I kind of wonder, what am I going to teach today? And then I play a little bit, and I think, and I go, oh yeah, that would be a great idea. So today, I thought we'd talk about how every chord has a scale that goes with it, and every scale has a chord that goes with it. And why would you want to know that? Well, because especially if you want to improvise or play jazz, it's nice to know, hey, what notes are going to sound good and what notes are going to sound not so good. Okay, there's no bad notes. Okay, only bad resolutions. That's what Dizzy Gillespie said. But there's kind of a cookbook formula. I call it a cookbook formula because it is sort of formulaic. It's not always the most musical thing, but it is important groundwork, I think. You know, in the end, when you're improvising, you want to do something that's indicative of the melody and the music, right? You want your improvisation to sound like reminiscent of the tune. Otherwise, you could be playing anything, right? So let's just kind of, again, once again, just going to dive right in with our bird's eye view camera. Here we go. And let's just take, get the magic marker. They're not really magic. They just say they're magic. But the major seven. So major seven, C major seven, C, E, G, B. That's your C major seven, right? Well, what sounds good on that? A major scale. A major scale sounds good on the major chord, right? Now, you could start on another note in the chord, and typically you might start on the root or the third or the fifth, root, third, fifth, or seventh of the chord, and you would create a kind of a new scale. If I start on the third, right? That's if you take the major scale and frame it that way, that's called Phrygian, Phrygian. That's called Phrygian. If I start on the G, on the fifth, that's called Mixolydian. And if I start on the seventh, that's called Locrian. So, L-O-C-R, Locrian. Okay, yeah, N with an N. Sorry. So if you take the scale and reframe it, you get a different kind of sound. We're not really in. Each one of those is actually a key unto itself. There is music that's written in that only uses a Locrian scale as the key that you're in. But in this case, I'm using those words just to make it easier to describe or talk about a scale from another viewpoint. That's all it is. Okay, and there is kind of an interesting little exercise that you can do to combine your scales and chords and 2-5-1s, and I might just touch on that for a second, because you know, most important thing when you're playing jazz is knowing the 2-5-1. It's not the end all and be all, but it's pretty important. So if you're playing your 2-5-1, 2-5-1, 2-5-1. 2-5-1. Here's a 2-5-1 in C, right? Major scale. 2-5-1 in B flat. 2-5-1 in A flat. And I'm playing the major scale above it. 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes, 4 notes. 4 notes, key of D. Chords are hard to hear down that low, but we're back to C. If I play that low, that's really too low. Right? So we went through 6 keys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C, B flat, A flat, G flat, or F sharp, E, D, and C went to 6 keys. And then you do it in the other 6 keys. You go up or down a half step. So key of D flat. Key of A, key of G, key of F, F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major. I got off there. E flat, F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major 7. And we're back to D flat. B flat minor 7, A flat 7, D flat major 7. Right? That's our 2-5-1 exercise together with the major scale. All right. So D minor 7, G7, and then C major 7, and then to continue it, you'd go to C minor 7, F7, B flat major 7, and so on. Then B flat, the major becomes the minor, B flat minor 7, E flat 7, A flat major 7, and so on. Right. So we're moving down by whole steps. Okay, I got off on a little bit of a tangent, but I wanted you to be able to apply this stuff. Okay, so the next step, once you can do that, rather than just starting on the tonic, the first note, start on a different note. Start on the fifth. It's C major scale, but starting on the G. Okay, so we're going. So I'm doing a C major scale, starting on G. I'm doing a B flat scale, starting on F. I'm doing an A flat scale, starting on E flat. Right? That's our Mixolydian, and that you can understand that as a major scale with a flatted seventh. So that would be, let's say, G A B C D E F G. Okay, that's the notes. G major would have the F sharp, right? So the seventh note in the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The seventh note of the scale is the F. In the key of G major, it's F sharp. In the key of G Mixolydian, right? That F natural is actually considered a flatted 7, right? The terminology can be a little confusing because it's an F natural, but I'm calling it a flatted 7. Well, I'm calling it a flatted 7 because we pretty much measure intervals and whether we raise or lower a note. We're pretty much using the major scale as the point at which we measure things. Okay, so now let's kind of go through a couple other chords, a few other chords. All right, so that's major 7. How about minor 7? Well, minor 7, you could use that is a C. I wish I had another marker. I think I do. I'm always kind of running out of markers, but I think I have a better one here. If you give me a moment, let's see. Okay, that's not bad. I think that's okay. I think that's all right. So C, is it okay? Dorian. C Dorian. So Dorian meaning, let's say 2, right? C is the second note of what scale? B flat. All right. So it's B flat, C, D, E, F, E flat rather, F, G, A, B flat. That's the major, right? That's the B flat major scale. And if I start on the second note, we're calling it Dorian. C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, and then we're ending with C. So that's our Dorian. Okay. So on a minor chord, that's a major scale with a flatted third and a flatted seventh. And that'll sound just fine. Right? Now, minor 7 flat 5. Well, there's a few things you could use, but certainly that is Locrian, and it works. That is C Locrian. That is the D flat major scale, starting on the seventh degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So the Dorian is for the minor 7 chord. So in this case, the minor 7 was C, E flat, G, B flat. Right. That was our C minor. The C minor 7 flat 5, or as we also call it, the half diminished chord. So C, E flat, G flat, B flat, root, flatted third, flatted fifth, flatted 7. Again, I'm thinking about the key of C. C is the first note in the key of C. E flat, E is the third note, and then we flat it. G is the fifth note, and we flat it. B is the seventh note, and we flat that. Okay, and that scale is Locrian. That's starting on the seventh note. And you could think of that, you could think of Locrian as, again, comparing it to the key of C, flat 2, flat 3, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. I mean, a lot of, here, flat 2, flat 3, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, all the kind of forms a pentatonic scale in a sense. And then the remaining notes that aren't flatted, these two, this perfect fifth, right? So you got that, and then you got this over the top of it. It's kind of cool. And then the diminished chord here. Well, I'm not going to do the diminished right now, and I have a reason for that. But I'm just going to use those 4 seventh chord types. Why those 4? Well, because those are the diatonic sevenths. Right? Those are the seventh chords you ordinarily find in a major key. Major 7, minor 7, minor 7, minor 7 flat 5, and what were we saying? Yeah, C major 7, D minor 7, E minor 7, F major 7, G7. Okay, and that's just 7, right? Some people would call it dominant because dominant means 5. Minor 7 flat 5. There's four different seventh chord types. So as an exercise, you can say, okay, here's major, all right, dominant, minor, Locrian, right? And you should be able to go through those, or go through, start the other way. Minor 7 flat 5, minor, dominant, major, right? You should be able to do that. And again, you can play games where you say you start on the 5th note of the scale, all right, and play. That's Mixolydian. It's major, starting on the 5th, right? This scale, right? What scale is that? That's actually Dorian, but it works in this context. Okay, minor, right? Starting on the 5th. What scale is that? Well, that's actually the Aeolian. That's the B flat scale starting on the 6th degree, and then the minor 7 flat 5. Well, there is no G in that, is there? So that may be a bit problematic, but we could potentially it doesn't really resolve that well. It doesn't work that well on that particular chord. Okay, now since you know that I'm a big fan of tetrachords, how about looking at it a different way? I know my idea of practicing is you take a simple idea and you look at it in more than one way. Same thing with learning a piece of music. And the better the piece of music, the more it lends itself to various perspectives. It's very civilized, really. It's very egalitarian. I mean, it's we use the word tolerance in a democracy. But tolerance is more than just putting up with someone else. It's also, from the opposite side of the coin, it's a willingness to look at look at the world through someone else's point of view. That's how you really become an artist. That's how you really become also proficient on your instrument. Otherwise, if you go to play and you've only learned something in one way, in a very two-dimensional way, and you're going to be very brittle and things are going to fall apart. So you have to kind of challenge yourself and pull the rug out from under yourself and look at things differently. So, here's what I mean. Here's back to our C major 7 chord. You could look at this chord as 4 overlapping tetrachords. 1, that's a major tetrachord. 2, that's a Phrygian tetrachord. 3, that's a major tetrachord. 4, that's a Phrygian tetrachord. So 2 similar tetrachord types here, and 2 similar tetrachord types here. Okay? I mean, that's kind of how I might look at that. Minor, okay? Or let's do dominant. Okay, so major, right? Still Phrygian, but what's this? That's minor, okay? And then what's that? That's a tetrachord we don't typically talk about, but this is a perfect fourth, B flat up to E flat. This is a augmented fourth or a flatted fifth, but it's a tritone, 3 whole steps. And that tetrachord is bound by the tritone, which is a little bit unusual, but nevertheless it is. Right? Right? You can gain some facility, right? And if you take 2 of those tetrachords and overlap them, well, 6 notes, 2 tetrachords that are overlapped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? So you learn to kind of meld them together, to kind of dovetail them together. So what's another secret to learning anything, but we're learning music now? You try to not bite off more than you can chew, okay? But also you got to bite off enough that you can chew. That makes sense to at least nourish you and swallow, okay? Groups of 4 notes, I'm telling you, it's the way to go. Learn music in terms of groups of 4 notes, and then like a jigsaw puzzle, try to put it together. It'll be much more manageable in the long run. Let's do another chord. So we did our major and our dominant. Let's go to the minor. Minor, okay, that's the first one here. Now what is this? That's another tritone, all right? That's minor, right? And major. Right? That's the sound. And then minor 7 flat 5, well, I would say minor, minor, there's our tritone again. See, by the way, I'm gonna admit I'm kind of practicing here with you. Okay, I played a wrong note. What was my mistake? I played a B natural instead of a C, or a B flat instead of a C. So, but now I remember, oh yeah, that's right. That group of notes, that's your tritone. Because when you're playing, okay, you don't have time to think, right? You got to just throw your hands on the piano and hope you trained, right? So you prepare with groups of notes, okay, and just kind of you just don't have time. Now the minor 7 flat 5, I did minor on the bottom, but I could also have done Phrygian as well, and maybe that would be more appropriate since I had originally said Locrian was the scale, but Phrygian. This sounds okay too. You know, as you go into this, you'll discover that there's not one right answer. There's more than one right answer if you tinker with it, okay? But this will get your foot in the door, right? So we'll just say, we'll go back and I'll say Phrygian tetrachord minor. There's your tritone tetrachord, and then on the top, minor. What did we say here? Yeah. Now, what did I do there? Well, I'm taking the tetrachord notes. Instead of playing in a linear way, I have a target. What's my target? My target is the chord notes. And so I'm going to surround the chord note, and then the next one, da dee da, and then the next one, da da dee da, there's the next one, and then da da, what should this one be? Da da, and then it's got to resolve somehow. So it's C major F. That's what I mean by making them musical. So you're managing consonance and dissonance, right? Whether it's composing a piece of music or improvising or playing a piece of written music. It's all about tension and release, managing that and being aware of where you are in that balance, right? That's how you convey a story, right? That's how you get across a piece of music, as opposed just to playing it in a very, again, two-dimensional way, because all of the consonance and dissonance is going to imply dynamics. And it's the dynamics that really get the piece across. So you could go back, and here's your a major exercise. Now, I'm not so sure it sounds great ending on the tonic. That was C major 7, ending on the tonic. It doesn't sound so great. So, you know, make your own little musical exercises out of it. Or I could end on the E, maybe. You know, find something else, the minor or the dominant. You know, that's some. Here's the minor now. I could even stay on that. That's the 9th. That's pretty. That's maybe that would be nice. I'm sorry. C9. So ending on the 9th. But grabbing those, taking those tetrachord groups, grabbing it. Remember, there's really only 4 basic tetrachord groups that we use. There's major, minor, Phrygian, and then harmonic. The harmonic being the half step between 1 and 2, and between 3 and 4, and the notes in the middle. Those are our augmented second. I haven't used those today. I didn't use those today at all. Because I would typically only use the harmonic tetrachord in a harmonic minor scale. We're not talking about that at the moment. So maybe I'm going to play a little song for you as we go out here. It's an original tune written by moi, and it's has a silly little title. It's kind of inspired by George Gershwin's great "I'll Get" rhythm. This was called "I Got" rhythm, rather. I have it backwards. George Gershwin's "I Got" rhythm. Mine is "I'll Get" rhythm, and it's very kind of serpentine, chromatic. So I'll just play. I'll play a little bit for you, and maybe I'll put on this guy so you can kind of watch me. But here we go. Okay, that's it. We'll see you next time. Drop me a line, and we'll talk.